for a middle-class household depending on a vehicle for daily logistics and employment. The combination of an 84-month loan on a $70,000 principal and the risk of a single emissions repair bill ranging from $3,000 to $6,000 represents a total loss of financial predictability. The transition of the modern pickup truck from a mechanical tool to a locked digital platform has created an environment of continuous financial extraction. With household budgets already constrained by housing, utilities, and groceries, transportation remains the critical economic link that makes employment possible. Modern vehicles feature over 100 separate computer modules, shifting this economic balance. Consumers are financing a software platform that requires a constant cellular network connection to authorize its own replacement parts, rather than purchasing a machine they control. Minor sensor faults or maintenance procedures performed outside an authorized service center can render a necessary vehicle entirely inoperable. This forces owners into an expensive, mandatory dealership service monopoly, resulting in a loss of independent mobility. This environment has also given rise to a shadow fleet of over 500,000 heavily modified vehicles operating outside the authorized network. This economic reality mirrors earlier shifts in the agricultural sector, where manufacturers adopted a template established by equipment companies like John Deere. The strategy relies on restricting access to the machine's software. When an agricultural worker experiences a component failure on a $4 million combine, during harvest season, the machine cannot be repaired in the field. The diagnostic software required to identify and clear the fault is licensed exclusively to authorized dealers, positioning them to dictate service rates during critical operational timeframes. This framework has been applied to consumer pickup trucks. The economic pressure moves from the dealership service bay directly to the consumer. If a modern engine triggers a diagnostic code because an owner changed the oil filter outside of an authorized service center, the manufacturer prevents independent maintenance. The loss of mechanical independence accelerated around 2007. In the diesel market, emissions mandates introduced diesel particulate filters and selective catalytic reduction systems into consumer models. The economic effect of this engineering integration was immediate for those relying on these vehicles for transportation or small business operations. A diesel particulate filter traps it and periodically burns it off by injecting raw fuel into the exhaust stream. When a driver uses the vehicle for short trips, the system cannot complete a full regeneration cycle. The filter clogs and ultimately fails, frequently destroying the turbocharger and other engine components. When this systemic failure occurs on a post-2007 truck, the owner faces a repair bill between $3,000 and $6,000. For a middle-class household, an unexpected expense of this magnitude represents a financial event that directly threatens economic stability. In response to this financial exposure, a counter-economy has emerged within the automotive aftermarket. Independent shops have developed methods to bypass the dealership network, a practice widely known as the delete loophole. Originally referring to the physical removal of restrictive emissions equipment, such as diesel particulate filters and exhaust gas recirculation valves, the term has expanded into a broader rejection of dealership software control. Mechanics bypass digital restrictions by removing failed factory computers and wiring their own controls. As automakers utilize software restrictions and proprietary computers to enforce a captive service network, mechanics respond by stripping the digital infrastructure from the vehicle entirely. By removing the failure-prone emission systems and the proprietary software that governs them, mechanics eliminate the vulnerability that leads to costly repair bills, restoring mechanical independence. This allows a family or an independent contractor to keep their vehicle operational without entering a cycle of dealership diagnostics and proprietary parts replacement. When manufacturers cease production of affordable components or price them out of reach, the aftermarket engineers alternative parts to keep older platforms running. If digital electronics experience total systemic failure, mechanics revert to purely mechanical fuel and spark systems. The shadow economy carries documented consequences. The physical removal of factory emission systems creates severe environmental tension. Over 500,000 modified trucks currently operate on roads, producing unfiltered particulate matter and nitrogen oxides. The factory systems were originally implemented to serve a public health purpose. The aftermarket rebellion against the dealership model operates in a complex regulatory area, pitting the environmental costs of unfiltered emissions against the economic survival of middle-class households. Mechanics performing these bypasses act as problem solvers responding to an automotive market that has priced out its consumers. The delete serves as an economic response to the financial strain caused by dealership service networks. This aftermarket intervention is rooted in the engineering durability of older analog platforms. Automakers underestimated the ingenuity of the independent mechanic and the longevity of pre-2007 architecture. Vehicles like the 7.3 liter Power Stroke, produced by Ford from 1994 through 2003, and the 5.9 liter Cummins inline 6, built by Dodge through 2007, were designed around mechanical injection. Fuel delivery operates on physical pressure and mechanical timing rather than relying on computer-controlled solenoids managed by lock software. A diesel technician equipped with a pressure gauge and a compression tester can diagnose these engines without a dealership scan tool. Gasoline platforms like the GMT 800 Chevrolet Silverado, produced from 1999 through 2006, offer similar mechanical simplicity and aftermarket support. As automakers engineer modern trucks to extract revenue through subscriptions and software locks, the aftermarket aims to maintain older, analog trucks for decades, isolating the owner from the modern dealership infrastructure. Consumers purchasing new vehicles face an environment defined by restricted access, continuous payment structures, and fragile digital systems. Modern trucks are engineered to be serviced exclusively by authorized centers at proprietary rates until the cost of the repair exceeds the value of the vehicle. In response, an unauthorized network of independent mechanics has engineered a functional bypass. By removing proprietary computers, disabling failure-prone emission systems, and relying on aftermarket engineering, they have created a parallel economy. This system provides a financial escape route for households unable to sustain the costs of modern vehicle ownership, while simultaneously generating a complex environmental challenge that remains entirely unresolved.